Hey, welcome back to Unstable TV. So we have another suggestion coming in from our Indian reactions playlist. But before we get into that, if this is your first time on the channel, do not forget to
like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell. And if you're back with us again, hi!
We're checking out today, you know?
Today, James, we're going to be having a look at how India made cricket a $1 billion business. That is a lot of money.
How did India do it? As we know, you all love the cricket over there. So let's find out together. Let's go!
Cricket, a quiet sport.
Got that one?
Pioneered by the British, measured, considered, timeless.
The difference in India.
Just a couple of decades ago, cricket was struggling to attract audiences, and its commercial future was very much in doubt. Now, it has the second biggest sporting franchise in the world, bettered only by the NFL. At the centre of its success is one country and its record-breaking tournament, the Indian Premier League.
So there's been a revolution in cricket. Traditionally, what used to happen, when English cricket started, cricket in the rest of the world stopped. Now, such is the glamour of IPL, such are the riches IPL provides, that English cricket has to bow down to India.
There are 74 games now in the IPL and each one is valued at over £10 million for one game. There's no way that other formats of the game before could have commanded that sort of financial power or value.
The figures that are talked about is that 80% of world cricket's income is provided by India in one form or the other.
India currently has a population of 1.4 billion people. IPL has a viewership of almost 700 million people. Worldwide fan base for cricket is about 2.5 billion people. We are 27% of that total fan base worldwide. So potential to grow this viewership, immense, massive.
This is the story of how one country became the driving force behind the biggest sporting turnaround of the 21st century.
There is a serious amount of people around the world that watch cricket.
Yeah, that is a lot globally. 1.4 billion. That's a population that watches cricket. No wonder they surpassed the English. Of course, Indians done what they done best when the English introduced stuff to them. They made it better.
Exactly.
Or they took it over.
$10 million a game, just insane.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
See so far like difference of why you guys love it more in India in the stadium than like anywhere else in the world. Like the performances that are put on, it's so quiet in England, and then India, it's just a spectacle.
Well, cricket is this unique English game. The English invented most of the sports, but cricket is probably unique in that the two sets of players are doing opposite things. One of them is playing with a bat and the other one is playing with a ball.
It's one of those kind of quite enigmatic sports to describe, I think. It's the battle between runs, the number of runs you can score, versus the number of wickets. And a wicket is when a batter gets out, and so it's a contest between runs and wickets.
The overall aim of the game is to score more runs than the opposing team. A run is essentially a point, and it's given every time a batter runs between the wickets, which is possible after the ball has been bowled. 4 runs are given if the batsman hits the ball beyond the boundary of the pitch, with the ball having hit the ground. A 6 is given for batters who can clear the boundary without the ball hitting the ground. The fielding team bowls to the batting team. A fielder bowls in sets of 6 balls, which are called an over. After each over, the bowler changes. The best way to prevent the batting team from scoring is by getting the batsman out or taking wickets. This can be done in many ways: bowling, catching, or running out. Once 10 of the 11 batsmen are out, their innings finishes and they can't score any more runs. The same is true if they run out of time, which varies depending on the type of cricket game. and is where the most revolution has taken place in recent years.
I didn't realise there were days.
Its most traditional format is multi-day cricket. So where it's
now,
played with a red ball, and there are 3 results possible: win, lose or draw. So I know people are completely stumped by the fact that you can play a game for 5 days and still draw at the end of it.
Yeah.
Cricket's complicated rules and long playtime meant it struggled to appeal to fans outside Commonwealth countries who had deeply historical ties to the game. Invented in England in the 1600s, cricket arrived in other parts of the globe during the late 17th and 18th centuries via British colonisers.
The British took the game to different parts of the world as they expanded, as they went in search of trade, and then they acquired territories. They didn't tell people you have to play our sport. They played their sport, and the other people seeing the British play the sport was attracted by it.
While a number of the Commonwealth countries adopted the game as their own, one managed to turn the sport into big business.
I think the Indians, who've been given no chance at all, are likely to give a great deal more trouble than many people expect.
When I was a very young boy, that was a long time ago, in the 50s, as a 5-year-old, I was taken in India, in Mumbai, to watch England play India.
Mihir Bose, the BBC's first sports news editor, is one of cricket's best-known commentators. His most recent book, 9 Waves, The Extraordinary Story of How India Took Over the Cricket World, traces the country's rise from colonial dependency to global dominance within the sport.
The money in cricket came through, and this was worldwide, came through people at the gates buying tickets. When a team came over in England, Australia, West Indies, New Zealand or whoever, there would be in the cities what was called test fever. People would want to buy tickets, there would be long queues to get tickets and so on, and that was the situation till well into the 1990s.
Television had shown its potential in India during the 1982 Asian Games, but it wasn't until the 1990s, when domestic viewership reached critical mass, that its full potential could be capitalised on.
The cricket authorities in India realised television stations were prepared to pay big money. By then, crowds had declined all over the world. People were watching on television, and English cricket and Australian cricket found that when they played India, they could sell their television rights to these Indian television stations for a lot of money. And that is where India, if you like, took over the world game.
While the sport's original days-long format continued to have an appeal with long-standing fans, cricket struggled to entice new, younger audiences. This pressure only intensified as the unparalleled popularity of mega franchises like the NFL and the EPL continued to proliferate. In an attempt to reinvigorate the sport, a variety of shorter formats with fewer overs were created.
England, finding audiences were not coming to cricket, spectators were not coming to cricket, devised a new format of the game where only 20 overs were bowled by each side, shorten the game, because then you could play the game in an English summer, start it at 1 or 2 o'clock, play till about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and somebody could finish their work at 5 and just pop in for 2 or 3 hours. That was the idea.
England's 20-over format, also known as T20 or 2020, launched its first professional tournament in 2003. The shorter format made it a much better fit for broadcasters. Sky Sports televised 8 group matches and the entirety of Finals Day live. England's T20 World Cup was a success domestically and had proved the potential of a more explosive version of the game. But it would take a total disruption in 2008 to change the course of cricket. And that disruptor came in the form of the Indian Premier League.
There we go.
No matter which time zone you're in,
So England came in and were like, we have a way to get this back. And then India was like, we have a better way.
India was like, it's our sport now.
Exactly. India just took it over. England took over India and India took over cricket. That's fair.
I think that's fair, right? Like, India's like, yeah, we'll dominate the T and that. But this is what we were asking you guys, and show again for sending this over. We wanted to understand the game from the start, like why it's called T20 and the ins and outs and the bowls, like how the matches actually played. And this video so far is telling us what we want to know.
Yeah.
So thank you to you guys for sending it.
Absolutely. I can understand why they shortened it though, because like 7 days, 5 days, that's a long time for one match.
Yeah, like you said, like people are getting off work, so it'd make more sense to be able to jump in, catch 2 games and still feel like you've been at the match.
Yeah, 100%.
The next 51 days, it's only one time, and that is to celebrate cricket's biggest festival. Welcome to the Vivo Indian Premier League.
They made it into a spectacle, and the old-fashioned traditionalists find this abhorrent. To them, that's not cricket. Cricket is theatre, where, you know, you have intellectual discussions as to where the ball is played and so on and so forth. Here they said, no, you don't need all that. You want entertainment. You want to rival what the cinema offers you, what any other form of entertainment offers you.
The IPL didn't just take inspiration from America's pre-show entertainment and pyrotechnics, it also adopted a similar league structure where the same teams compete every year.
For the IPL, they devised completely new teams. So it became Mumbai Indians, owned by one of the richest businessmen in India, composed, some of them from Mumbai, composed of players from around the world. Or the Chennai Super Kings, or, you know, the Kolkata Knight Raiders. So they came up with these exotic names.
You know, the one difference is this is not about a country playing another country. The one difference is you're able to, as a franchise, attract the best in an auction, which is done prior to the season beginning, where you bid for the best players in the world for a certain price tag.
How much has the IPL, changed the face of cricket because of the money involved?
Yeah, well, I mean, the money involved is huge for the players these days.
This is a time of upheaval in sport, when new, moneyed leagues promising big payouts threaten to upend the status quo. From Saudi Arabia's controversial LIV Golf Tour that saw golfers sign up despite concerns over the country's human rights record and then lose their place on renowned PGA tours, to the proposed European Super League, a breakaway competition in football designed to guarantee millions of dollars for a select few at the expense of long-established leagues. And the IPL is no different, with only 10 teams competing, each under owners with deep pockets. It quickly attracted the world's best players, causing issues for any other tournaments that took place during the IPL season.
Player choice, scheduling, the kind of proliferation of short format leagues, whilst also trying to schedule international cricket, whether it's test match cricket, the domestic game, the other international formats. It is quite a challenging jigsaw puzzle.
The organisation unofficially in charge of putting that puzzle together is the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI. While the International Cricket Council is named the global watchman, money, as is often the case, wields power.
The humble truth here is the BCCI is the richest body today in the world of cricket across the globe. And I think it's purely because of the success of IPL, massively. So you've got sponsorship deals pouring through every single corner of the room into the BCCI.
80% of world cricket's income is provided by India in one form or the other. There's television rights, there are commercial deals. When India play abroad, if you look around the stadiums, the marketing of the sponsors' names are Indian sponsors' names, because they have got the rights, they want their names on television because Indians are watching and therefore they'll sell the products.
So the BCCI obviously continues to aggregate power in its hands purely because of the type of consumers it has at its disposal, the Indian consumer. Like I said, 700 million people watching IPL, which has probably the least number of games across any sporting format across the world. I'm not just talking cricket, I'm talking NFL, I'm talking about MLB, I'm talking EPL. This has the least number of games. It has the maximum viewership.
The success of the 2022 IPL media rights e-auction highlighted just how successful this franchise has become in such a short period of time. the TV and digital rights for 2022 to 2027 matches collectively sold for $6.2 billion. This not only reaffirmed the IPL as the leading cricket league, but also made it the second most valuable league globally. At more than $13 million per match, the IPL has surpassed global leagues such as the EPL and the MLB, and is second only to the NFL. Disney bagged the TV rights, and a joint venture between Paramount and Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Industries won digital streaming rights.
Media companies are constantly working hard to make sure they get the right form of content such that the consumer loyalty continues to stick and grow. If you look at the case of Netflix in the 2 quarters that went by, they actually said they're going to come off massively on their consumer numbers only because they're not able to penetrate countries like India, which require a different form of content. I'm not saying that they should go after cricket as a possible broadcasting theme. They may, who knows. But if you get sport which is universal, has no language, something like a football or a cricket, which actually attracts more consumers given its religious following in those specific countries, I don't see a reason why you will see more media companies coming and trying to get a partnership with the BCCI given the massive fan following across the world.
It's widely agreed upon that media is what's
I don't see why they wouldn't. Streaming services and that wouldn't stream any sports on it. It'd make them so much more money. Especially what he's saying with cricket. It's, there's no languages involved in it. It's universal. Everybody understands it.
Yeah, I think Netflix, they should have streamed more cricket. Because that's the hardest thing. There's a match being played here in Ireland at the moment. We were only told about it due to the live stream because we didn't see much advertisement for it. But thanks for our Indian followers telling us so we can check it out.
Held the values of teams to such astronomical heights. In the US, the Big Ten, a college football conference, just signed an $8 billion media rights deal. And Apple signed on to a 10-year global broadcast deal to stream Major League Soccer worth $250 million. With so much untapped revenue to play for, a flurry of new T20 leagues are being created in an attempt to ride the wave of the IPL's success.
South Africa have started fleshing out details of the new T20 league. Players are already on board, a broadcast deal has been confirmed and team owners revealed. SA's previous attempts at getting an international T20 league off the ground have failed.
South Africa and the UAE are both set to launch new T20 leagues in 2023, adding to an already packed cricketing calendar. These tournaments will put a further strain on resources and talent.
Wow.
Especially as the current ruling by the BCCI states no Indian national player can take part in other leagues unless they permanently retire from the IPL and national cricket. The thinking here is that players competing in other T20 tournaments will take fans to those franchises, which could lead to tougher competition in terms of attraction, attention, and brand value for the IPL.
So you've seen T20 leagues mushroom in Australia, the Big Bash League, the Caribbean Premier League, one in England, and now 2 new leagues being launched, just announced, one in South Africa and the other one in Dubai, the Emirates Cricket Board. Now, the fact is, in all of these leagues, Indian players who have a global fan following are not allowed to play. That's the rule. And if you can't get the likes of MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli or some of the other big boys that we have playing cricket across the world for their country and in the IPL league, I think you lose that many audiences.
In an interview with ANI Sports in August 2022, the BCCI Vice President Rajiv Shukla commented on the matter. Our Indian Premier League is itself a huge league, and we cannot allow any of our players to attach themselves to any foreign league in any manner. The owners of the IPL teams have found a clever way to compete with these burgeoning leagues. Buying the competition. All teams within South Africa's new T20 tournament have been bought by the owners of IPL teams.
There are 10 team owners in India. All of them have tasted immense success in IPLs. They've seen their valuation go from literally nothing to now close to $2 billion per franchise, given the media rights valuation. When you taste that kind of success in a limited time frame of 10 or 15 years, you certainly want to experiment as an owner, a team owner, and see what this can do if other leagues take off.
Now, non-cricketing countries, seeing the opportunity that T20 brings, are beginning to hedge their bets. Not only is the shorter format an easier game to sell to those countries with less understanding of the sport, but the money floating around and growing demand for talent offers the perfect incentive for young athletes.
Right now we're in the middle of a historical event for Cricket Finland because we've never hosted an international cricket tournament before. I think from our perspective as a non-traditional country, we've been looking at the data that's come out from our World Cup qualifier event. There are quite significant viewership figures which have come through purely from a Finnish-based viewership. And I think looking at that in terms of the way forward, that's come about simply because the game itself has become more attractive for people to actually come and watch. It's become something which is more sold as a product, has more things going on for the viewer when they come to the ground. We've tried to sort of mirror that here with a very smaller version. Obviously, we haven't got a 100,000-seater stadium as they've got it, or a traditional cricket ground in India or in England. But at the same time, we have looked at it to actually think about how we can actually get new people interested in the game and have somebody at the game that is referring to what's actually happening on the cricket field to somebody that's never seen a game of cricket before.
For Finland, a country whose own national sport, Pesäpallo, is also bat and ball based, T20 offers a potentially easy transition for players and viewers. You only have to look at the average salaries of Pesäpallo and IPL athletes to understand the opportunity here. In 2019, the highest salary for a Pesäpallo player was about $55,000. That same year, the IPL's top-paid cricketer, Virat Kohli's salary and winnings came in at around $4 million. That's not to mention the $21 million he banked through endorsements.
The opportunities that are there for players in non-traditional countries to actually have access to the global stage, whether that's IPL, whether that's another franchise somewhere else in the world, or whether that's within the ICC's global pathway events. I think that's something which has itself only developed in the last 5 to 10 years.
Every other cricket board internationally is trying this format because they think it will result in them getting a lot of largesse in terms of dollars that come in, and they can in turn improve the local infrastructure of the game in their respective countries, which they probably can't do given the current state of finances. So it's a chicken and egg situation. If they are able to successfully attract and stage the first or second season of the tournament by attracting some world-class players and getting adequate consumers, media companies will come and funnel those as well.
Now, cricket is hoping to break into the largest sports market in the world, the US. The US's Major League Cricket competition is set to launch in 2023, backed by investors such as Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan and Microsoft chairman Satya Nadella. The following year, in 2024, Los Angeles will jointly host the T20 World Cup with the West Indies. And there's also a bid by the ICC to feature cricket for the first time ever in the Olympics, which will also be in LA in 2028. With so much interest in the sport and its expansion, investors are picking apart the business model and exploring ways to capitalise even further.
It has now gone to serious business where large business owners across the globe are seeing this as an opportunity to own a franchise, probably improve governance, get more independent sportsmen to come on the boards of these companies and therefore attract the best talent, get sponsorships and increase the scale and size of what they can do in the respective franchises.
Sport has become business. And sport is still run, and that is true beyond cricket in other sports, but particularly in cricket, as if it's a cottage industry. We haven't got off the field the sort of leaders and administrators we need to run a big industry like this. An industry that appeals to millions of people and which can affect the lives of millions of people, because for them it's a form of entertainment that they value.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's actually like a day out.
Yeah. If you're like them.
Yeah. So first off, a very big shout out to the original content creator. Do make sure you check them out, give them a like, subscribe and share and all that good YouTube stuff. And a very big shout out to our Indian friends sending us over to learn more about cricket, because we do want to learn more about cricket with you guys. We'll probably do a try video with us with a bat and you can laugh at us trying to do it. But we're going to implement what we learn so you guys can learn with us. But let us know who is your favourite player and who is your favourite team and why.
It's nice to see that it's all over the world now and it's even going into the Olympics. Yeah, it's just crazy to see the difference between Finland, who's starting off with 55,000 a year, which is still an amazing salary. And then Virat Kohli in India is 4 million. What? No wonder the rest of the countries around the world want to get involved in cricket, because that is an insane amount of money. And can we be cricket players if it's that much?
No, literally. Can you sponsor us?
Exactly.
Trying to get more in tune with the sport. Like, a lot of times we're trying to learn and basically catch the matches, but we couldn't get down the match actual runs and the bowls and what that actually meant. But we're wondering, why is it called a T20? And this explained it to us.
Exactly. It did explain a lot more. I feel like we came out of this with more of an understanding of cricket.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That's been our 2 cents, and we'll chop ourselves out of this.